This is a comparison between the popular Outlaw versus Silverbacks, the never-ending debate of the two main mud tires that are on the market. There's some smaller ones, but in my opinion they don't matter, because the two main true mud tires, besides the Black Mamba, because they're god-awful heavy, is an Outlaw and a Silverback. And here's the comparison. The Silverback, both of them are on a 7-inch wide rim. A Silverback, and they're both also at the same air pressure, which is 7 or 8 pounds of air. I don't remember. And that's about it. They both don't have much wear. The Silverback has about an 1/8 inch of wear just on the tips, because somebody rode these on the road. But that's not that big of a deal, because this right here still shows the original tire height. But a Silverback is 10 inches wide, a 32 is at least, and a wide 31 Outlaw is 11. You can see the difference, you can see the side lugs. And the main thing between these two tires is, although this is a tiny bit shorter, it's only like a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch shorter, it's sitting on a high spot right now. And other than that, it's just barely shorter by about 3/4 of an inch. 32s measure 31.5 mounted with 7 pounds of air, with no load on the bike and the bike off the ground completely. 31s with the exact same specs, or whatever you call them, measure 30 and 5/8, so they both run a little short. The difference between 32s and 31s is, obviously you can see the massive lug difference. 32s are 2 1/4, Outlaws are 1.5 inches. I think it's 1.5 inches, or maybe it's 1.25 inches. So either way, there's a whole extra inch of lug. Actually, I think in the centers they're about the same, or a little bit more for a 32, but out here is a 2 1/4 inch lug depth, and same for right here. I think these really only measure like 1.125 inches or something. But they're both amazing tires. A 32 is not going to float as bad because it doesn't have as wide of an area, plus it's also a heavy tire. These weigh 53 pounds apiece, these weigh 48. These also are wider and have a lot bigger airspace, so they are going to float more. 32s will dig, and will dig a lot, but they do pretty good for about everything in general, clay and all that stuff, and they clean out pretty good if you can have something to turn them. Outlaws, they paddle more, they float, and they will clog up, and you will have to spin them a little bit faster to clean them. But when I say they clog up a little bit worse, that's not that big of a deal. Keep in mind, I have not ran either of these two tires. I've just seen both these tires ran in person, and I used my old 29.5 inch Outlaws for comparison. A 31, the lugs are extremely soft. Probably can't see it, but they are extremely soft, and when they're ballooned out with this much air in them, they're a little stiff, but whenever they're flat, they're extremely soft. A 32, however, they have almost no give at all in the entire tire, soft or aired up. They just make no difference. As for which do better, it's all about your preference. These two are by far my favorite tires of all time, main mud tires. And instead of whining about wondering which does better, an Outlaw versus a Silverback, might as well have gotten both. These are on 14-inch Visions by 7-inch wide, I think, and there's some brand off eBay. I think they're Carlisle, BlackRock, or something like that. They're also 7 inches wide, and these are solid rear axle offset. Those are independent rear suspension offset. That's really about all the difference there is between the tires and wheels, other than there is just the smallest amount of difference in height, which you can see right there. The 32s are about 1 inch taller, or a little bit now that I'm not sitting in the high spot as bad, but they're almost exactly an inch difference between the two tires. Eventually I will do a test on them. They'll probably both be on the 350, just because this bike is so large and cumbersome to move around, and the 350 will be a lot smaller and easy to get in and out of a truck aside from this. So eventually, once I have it or this running, whichever comes first, I'll make a comparison going through the same hole on different sides of the hole, and we'll see which does better in my specific conditions, which would be a silty creek bottom with a lot of water, and under the first 6 inches of silt is bottomless clay, like peanut butter type clay.